everybody, this is Danny Class, and today we're going to learn how to play bar chords in the minor form and also in the dominant 7 form. And this lesson is meant to be a complement to a previous lesson I gave on how to play bar chords in the major form. So let's take a look at the first bar chord that we'll be learning today, which is A minor. And in order to play that, you will take your finger, and remember you want to kind of make a little concave shape and put it just in front of the 5th fret and kind of roll it a little bit towards the headstock. That'll give you some more power. So that goes across all of those 6 strings, and then your 3rd finger will be right in front of the 7th fret, and your 4th finger, your pinky, will be right in front of the 7th fret. For the 3rd finger, it'll be in front of the 7th fret on the 5th string. This is an E. And for your pinky, it will be in front of the 7th fret on the 4th string, and this will give you an A. Okay, and so then you strum all 6 strings, and this is an A minor chord. And one way to maybe check it is to go against another fingering of the A minor, which is in the 1st position, and they should sound the same. Different voicing, but the same basic chord. Okay, and then to make this a dominant 7 chord, it's really quite easy. Going from that A minor shape, take your pinky off and instead put your 2nd finger behind the 6th fret on the 4th string. And this will give you, no, excuse me, that's wrong. The your 2nd finger behind the 6th fret on the 3rd string, and this will give you an C sharp. And then if you play them together, you get an A7 or an A dominant 7. Those are the same chords, A7 or A dominant 7. And again, one way to check is to play an A7, which is over here, and it should sound the same, which it does. Okay, so the good news is that this basic shape that we started with, the A minor chord, if we slide it all the way up so that your 1st finger now is in front of the 10th fret and your 3rd finger is in front of the 12th fret and your pinky is in front of the 12th fret on those same strings, that is the 3rd finger on the 5th string and the pinky on the 4th string, and you play this, you get, it's a little hard depending on your guitar, this is a D minor, and you can check it off a more familiar D minor fingering that I did in a previous lesson, and it sounds different but the same. Okay. And that is a D minor chord. And then do the same thing that you did before, that is take your pinky off and keep everything else down and put your 2nd finger behind the 11th fret on the 3rd string, which gives you a F sharp, and then play all 6 strings. And the bar might be hurting a little bit at this point because it's really far up the guitar's neck, and generally bars get more I guess difficult, a little more stressful on the fingers the farther up the neck you go. But this is now a D7 chord or a D dominant 7 chord, same thing. And you can test it off a familiar voicing here in the 1st position. Well, there's another position here actually. Okay, and so the last chord, pair of chords that we'll be learning is E minor, and this will give your left hand a little break because the E minor sort of bar chord is actually way down here in the 1st position, because if you think about it, the nut here, and if there was a finger back here, is doing the barring. And so therefore your 2 fingers here on the 5th fret, the 2nd finger behind the second fret and the third finger behind the second fret, and then play all 6, is equivalent, if I could do it way up here, of this. If you can hopefully hear this. The octave. So this is an E minor chord, and then to make this chord a E7 chord or E dominant 7 chord, simply take your third finger off the second fret on the 4th string, put your first finger behind the first fret on the 3rd string, which gives you a G sharp. And this is your E7 chord or E dominant 7 chord. Later on in the channel, I'll be starting to do music theory, and we'll talk about how chords are named and what goes into the various chord formulas. But the quick version for the dominant 7 chord is that it is the same as a E chord, but with a flat 7th of the major scale thrown in. It's a little preview. And so the flat 7 of an E major scale, flat 7 is here, is a D. And so that D is therefore played here in this E7 chord right here. And if it wasn't there, then it would be a different chord. Okay, so that's it for today. Be sure to practice them, and I would recommend to play these chords with the major bar chords, but also from a previous lesson when I did a lesson on major chords in the first position, most of these will kind of go with them. And so it's good to kind of start mixing and matching and getting kind of used to the fretboard. So what I mean is, for example, this E minor chord that we learned today, you play it and you might want to throw in a G in the first position. The strumming pattern doesn't really matter. It's just kind of to get used to the hopping around, which is good to learn the fretboard that way. Okay, thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.